Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 5th episode of the Mason-Dixon Sports Podcast. I'm Justin, and joining me this week are Adam.
Hello.
And Jason.
What up?
This week we discuss football, the Steelers, college, and a little bit of high school, Pirates baseball, or lack of, racing, and a little bit of hockey. Thank you guys and gals for listening to us. Please, if you're listening to us through iTunes, please leave a review and let us know how we're doing. If you listen to us through YouTube, please like, subscribe to the channel, and leave us comments. Also, you can leave us messages through Facebook at facebook.com/Mason-Dixon Sports Podcast, or on Twitter at MaceDixSportsPod, or you can even send us an email at MasonDixonSportsPodcast@gmail.com. First off, I'd like to apologize to Adam, and more importantly to the listeners, for us not being able to give you the show that we had originally recorded. Due to some tech issues, on my end, we had to cut out some of what I feel would be some of the best bits. And just an FYI, Adam is the mastermind behind editing and getting the content to you guys, and unfortunately I made him work overtime last week. With that out of the way, and the childishness, let's start with the Steelers. On Thursday night they played the Panthers. The Stars didn't play again. Landry Jones played the first half, went 4 for 5 for 29 yards. Not exactly that great stats, but no picks and no touchdowns. So, no picks is nice. Brian Runnard played the second half, went 5 for 11 with 39 yards. Again, no touchdowns, no picks. The running back, Richardson, had 9 rushing attempts for 45 yards and 1 touchdown. The defense kept Carolina's offense to just field goals, so that's a plus. The tight end we talked about a few weeks ago, Ladarius Green, was placed on the physically unable to perform list and is out till at least week 6. They were saying it's for an ankle injury. I'm still leaning towards it's for the head. 2 injuries during the game were to both linebackers. Anthony Chiquilo, I guess I'm butchered that name. He left with a leg injury, and Travis Feeney left with a concussion. Your guys' thoughts on the last preseason game?
Pointless.
They're all pointless. Who cares?
I mean, the last one's pretty much just... I mean, I guess it's not pointless because they're trying to finalize their roster and, trying to figure out who's going to get the last couple spots. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but... I mean, I didn't watch it because I didn't really have any interest in those guys because most of them you're not going to see anyways, or else they're just going to be on, kickoffs or punt returns or whatever. And so, I don't know.
About practice squad.
Yeah, practice squad's important too.
They did cut the roster down to 53. I'm not going to list all the cuts, because I'll just end up butchering names again. However, they did make a trade with Cleveland. Traded a 6th-round pick in 2018 for cornerback Justin Gilbert. As we all know, the secondary's always been an issue for the Steelers. Hopefully he can learn the system and actually help us out this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty good pickup. From what I heard, Cleveland was going to cut him anyways. So this is kind of what happens when a team's going to cut somebody. They, send like a 6th-round pick. But we need help back there on the defense. So, I mean, it's a decent pickup for a little cost.
How many 6th-round picks do you see panning out without a couple years under their belt? So give up something junk now that could help you right now.
And Gilbert, he was pretty good for a while. Last couple of years haven't been that great, but we'll see what happens.
Oh, you mentioned 6th-round picks not panning out that well. As much as I hate the guy, Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick.
No, Tom Brady was a 7th-round pick.
Was it 7? I could have swore it was 6. Oh, well. Regardless, late rounder.
Wasn't AB a 6th-round pick?
I know he was a later round, but I thought he was a number 4 pick, a 4th-round pick.
I could have swore it was number 6, but...
I don't know, some pan out, but most of the time they end up on your practice squad or being your junkers. I mean, that's why you're drafted in them spots.
All right. On a little bit of downside, the high school team that we all, for the school we went to, lost badly to Shade, 40-19. Starting the season out 0-2, and I think their total points is 19 points. Those two games.
Yeah, they were shut out their first game.
And it's not going to be any easier this week. The rival, Carmel Township.
Yeah, let's not bring that up. My house is already bad enough.
Well, I mean, they only have 4 seniors. I'm pretty sure 2 of them, or at least 2 of their star players, are hurt right now. So, I mean, they're just having some bad luck. I mean, it's kind of like one of those rebuilding years, I guess.
We have way too many of those.
And you think about it, even when we had all the talent back when, we still sucked.
Even those years, at least got close to 500. I don't think they're going to get that far this year.
But you have to remember one thing, though. They played Berlin the first week. Berlin is the class act of the Westpac. And Shade barely lost to Township in week 1. So Shade might be on one of their very rare good years. Very rare.
That's possible. Moving on to college, we'll start with Jason's team. Number 17, Iowa, beat Miami of Ohio, 45-21. Penn State beat Kent State, 33-13. Pitt won against Villanova, 28-7. Interesting enough, for the first time in a while, this week is going to be Penn State at Pitt, so that should be a fun game.
Speaking of Pitt, I want to give a shout out to James Conner for getting his first touchdown after battling cancer and coming back. So good to see him back out there and doing what he loves to do.
Yes, that was very a very inspirational moment.
I did like the tribute they made to him for that too. When is a touchdown worth more than 6 points when you come back from an ankle injury and cancer? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
And that kid can just flat out run a ball. Whew.
Speaking of which, I did want to back up a second. I don't know if you guys saw it, because I know you're not big Penn State fans. Did you guys see the kicker, the 250-pound plus kicker, tackle the returner from Kent State?
No, I didn't get a chance to watch the Penn State game.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
I got kids, man. There's cartoons on, not football anymore.
The kick returner was coming up probably up at the 40-yard line, and pretty much just ran into the kicker and fucking stopped. It was pretty hilarious. It's interesting to see a kicker that big. That's not something you see that often. West Virginia beat Missouri 26-11. The number 1 ranked Alabama crushed number 20 USC 52-6 in a blowout game I did not see happening. The game was played at a neutral site at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. Number 6 Ohio State also beat Bowling Green 77-10.
Once again, Bowling Green's one of those schools. They're barely a Division I school, so that's the true warm-up game. I mean, the Pitt, Miami, Ohio game, same thing. Not Pitt, sorry, Iowa, Miami, Ohio. Villanova actually played well last year, which surprised me they got beat that bad.
Alright, moving on to upsets. One I don't know I'd exactly call an upset, but number 15 Houston beat number 3 Oklahoma. Like I said, 2 ranked schools play. I don't really see an upset, but most places do. Wisconsin beat number 5 LSU 16-14. which seems to be the trend this week with the SEC teams losing. Texas A&M beat number 16th ranked UCLA 31-24 in overtime. In the game where I think all three of us were rooting for Texas.
Yep.
Texas beat number 7th ranked Notre Dame in overtime 50-47.
I would have been betting for Notre Dame.
I would have been betting on Texas just because I hate Notre Dame.
I like Notre Dame, just saying.
I mean, there have been some good players come out of Notre Dame. You know, Bettis being one. But I'm just surprised Texas isn't ranked.
Well, they were horrid last year. And they figured they were in a rebuilding phase, and I guess they figured it out.
Rudy.
Hey, just because you're a midget like Rudy doesn't mean you need to root for him.
One other thing to note from the college games, Nebraska played tribute to the punter they had that passed whatever summer in a vehicle accident with a delayed game penalty with only 10 men on the field. That was pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And there was a lot of class shown by Fresno State wearing his initials on their helmets and declining the penalty.
Yes, that was definitely awesome to see.
Trust me, my future mother-in-law has that recorded.
You guys have anything else on college football?
No, I'm good.
I still don't like the whole ranking system. You should have to play a game before you're ranked.
All right, let's move on to some Pirates, even though this is going to be rough to talk about. It's been a very, very rough 7 days for the Pirates. They started off by getting swept by the Cubs. The first game they played, they actually went into extra innings, but to me, they lost that game in extra innings because of mismanagement by Clint Hurdle. They had the lead going into, I believe it was the 13th inning, and he refused to use one of his relief pitchers that had been sitting out for 2 days. He wanted to give him another day's rest. So he left Jeff Locke in there to pitch, and Jeff Locke proceeded to do what Jeff Locke does and lost the game for us. But like I said, they ended up getting swept by the Cubs. Their next series, they played Milwaukee, and they got swept by Milwaukee. And that gets us to today, where they lost 12-6 to the Cardinals. So that puts the Pirates at they're currently under 500 at 67-68. They're 4.5 games back from a wild card spot. And the Mets are currently 1 game back from a wild card spot, which the Cardinals are currently in that last spot. So I think the Pirates are done. I don't think they can make up that 4.5 games.
Well, hey, these are the Pirates we knew growing up, so this is normal for us.
I mean, watching them play the Cubs, I had hope because I mean they were fighting against the Cubs, who lead the division.
They lead the league.
All right.
Okay, they lead the league. They're losing close games. They almost came back on Wednesday. 9th inning, brought it back within 1, and the last out went 15 pitches before he finally got out. Only to see the next series against a team they should have beat easily had no effort.
That's what they do all the time, though. They always play well against the teams, the harder teams, and then the teams that they should beat, they never do. And I don't know if they just don't prepare well enough, or they just don't, get up enough for that game. It's frustrating to watch. But at the same time, looking at them possibly going to miss the playoffs, they're one of like 3 or 4 teams that has only made the playoffs the past 3 or 4 years. So, I mean, I guess we can't be too upset if they miss it this year after being there for 3 years in a row. So,
wow, on the same note, that also needs to make up for missing 21 seasons.
Right.
Let's talk some racing. How's that sound to you guys?
Oh, this is going to be fun.
Let's do it.
All right.
Get this started with.
Well, let's start off with a bang here. Let's go with the Truck Series race up at the Canada Tire Raceway Park on Sunday. John Hunter Nemechek won. Let's not go there right now, but Cole Custer came in second, and Daniel Hemrick came in third. Novak, did you get to watch any of the replays or any of this race?
I saw one of the replays, and it was one driver tackling the other driver.
Oh, I'm talking before that. I'm talking the finish of the race. They didn't even finish on the damn track.
Yeah, they finished in the grass.
They finished in the grass. I know that Custer needed that win to get into their version of the chase, and Nemechek was doing everything he could just to not let him win. But that was dirty. Fun to watch, but dirty.
That was beyond dirty. Him trying to do the bump and run in turns 9 and 10 is one thing. When he deliberately turned into that truck in turn 10, okay, he wrecks him. And then the slam into him and keep him against the fucking wall the whole way down the straightaway. I am amazed that the third place car didn't end up winning because of that dirty move.
I'm amazed that the third place car didn't end up winning, or second place car didn't get the win because of that dirty move, and Nemechek get DQ'd.
I am surprised, and as of looking a little bit ago, there still hasn't been anything mentioned about the incident, and 2, the one thing, I understand where Kuster's coming from, but tackling Nemechek on the front stretch after the race, like I said, I understand. I'd probably done the same thing because he was pissed.
Oh,
and had every right to be pissed.
I mean, people that don't watch racing don't understand how emotional of a sport it actually is. It's crazy how angry you get on that track, and then in the pits afterwards. Whew.
I was gonna say, Jason and I aren't even driving. We're just in the pits for someone, and we get pretty freaking emotional. So I can't even imagine how much more emotional you are when you're in the car and you're that close to a victory and you know you need it, and stuff like that happens to you. I mean, I can't blame him for tackling him. I would have done the same thing.
Now, that does bring up 2 points. Run right now, I think Kuster is still in the chase on points with one more race to go. But if he misses it, damn well he's getting revenge on Nemechek in one of the races before the season's over.
Definitely.
I mean, if he's smart, he will wait until after the next race to make sure he doesn't lose his spot. But it's coming in that chase. It's coming in that chase. It is.
And all I gotta say is, if NASCAR didn't give any fines or any penalties for this, when he retaliates in a couple weeks, barring he misses the chase, there is one more race. Unfortunately, I can't tell you where. I think it's Kansas, but I could be wrong. It's gonna be. I mean, I'm sure NASCAR's happy because it gets people actually interested in watching the Truck Series again because to see what happens. But I don't think that's the way to do it, especially when you have a car that has no sponsor. Take out one that
he has a sponsor. Sponsor's daddy.
Well, I wasn't getting there, and that's also surprising because I've never seen Joe pull anything like that.
No, I don't remember seeing Joe do anything like that. I remember somebody named Earnhardt doing a lot of that stuff.
Even Earnhardt never went to that extent.
No,
he would pull the bump and run, and he would do it well, and sometimes do it a little too well.
Yeah, that's true.
But guy, I mean, he could have saved that car, kept it on the track, and won that race. But he said it'd be better to keep the guy against the inside barrier. That's where I have the offense at.
I honestly think he should have been disqualified. I mean, I'm not one for disqualifying people for rough driving, but that was a little beyond rough. That was to the extent of that could have hurt, maybe possibly killed somebody.
Well, we all know that racetracks and race teams and officials don't always follow their rules and everything that they put out there. So
Yeah, we know that all too well.
Like I said, this is going to be a fun segment.
All right, before we get arguing about local racing, let's talk about the Xfinity Series. They raced at Darlington. Elliott Sadler won, followed by Denny Hamlin. I'm sorry, was that Danny? Oh, no, Denny. And then Daniel Suarez in third. All right, you guys ready to talk about Saturday night yet?
Always.
This is going to get interesting. All right, Saturday night, the Super Lates, the big boys. Matt Sever won again, followed by Gary Wiltrout, and points leader Barry Audi came in third. The Modifieds, senior Chris Brink, go figure, won again. Zane Farrell came in second, followed by Jared Barclay. And I'm really glad to see him finishing up there. I mean, he just bought that car, what was it, 3 weeks ago, Adam?
yes,
Bought that off our one buddy 3 weeks ago. And when he's not wrecked, he's always up at least in the top 5. It's nice to see that. It's nice to see the car counts up, too. I think they had somewhere around 76 individual cars registered Saturday night. And for a little small-town track up in Hillbilly area up here, that's big. Street Stocks, this is the closest points race here. Adam Kostelnik won, followed by butthead Andrew Kostelnik. And then Sean Beam came in third. I was really hoping Sean could finish one position ahead of Andrew, come into next Saturday with that being dead tied. That would have made for one heck of a feature. In the Charger division, Steven Sheltman won again. Second place to rookie Tanner Friedline. And third place to our good buddy Adams. What do we call him now? Your cousin or his uncle? We still going with uncle?
No, we go with cousin because he's younger than me.
Oh, yeah, okay. His cousin, quote-unquote, Frank Novak. Nice to see him back, too, after a few-week hiatus. Now down to our division, the Fast Fours. Everybody's favorite driver, Andrew Pluto, won. Followed by Sidney Rhodes and then Brian Knoll. Nice to see Brian up there. After his win, he mentioned the fact his father used to come to every race. It's nice to see him finally doing well. Yeah.
I will mention one thing. I know you guys don't like it, but I am glad to see Andrew win. And what's his second win of the season?
Third.
And before we get into what we're going to get into, I mean, other than some of the drama I saw on Facebook afterwards, and we'll get into that too. I mean, the kid did nothing wrong. He showed up, ran the race, won. He didn't wreck anybody.
This time.
Yes, I know. I know a few weeks ago, Andrew and Casey got into a little bump, a little bit of bump, and Andrew went a little far. That's fine. But
I mean, I don't have a problem with Andrew winning. I mean, as long as it's done cleanly. So congratulations to him this week.
Oh yeah.
Congratulations to Cindy. She's always been clean, and she always runs up there right at the top. And again, like Ed just said, it's nice to see Brian Knoll up there too. After his win, he kind of dropped off for a couple weeks, but it's nice to see him back up there. So I know where you're going with that, Justin, and I'm pretty sure Jason and I don't have an issue with anybody else winning. It's just how they get there.
Yeah. I like I said, Andrew ran an actual clean race this week. More power to him. He won it right. Got a little close to a couple lap cars to use them as picks, but you got to do that. I mean, that's part of racing.
now, before you guys get into your, or I know Jason's gonna get into a rant. I do have a couple issues with this past week from your guys' driver. One, that post on Facebook earlier in the week, posted on the Jennerstown website. You've got to have a little more class than that. Yeah, I understand you're pissed. You guys are winning, dominating this division right now. They're gonna see if you guys are cheating. They're gonna work on it because that is the cheapest division to get into, and they want to build that track up to be something again, like it used to be in the '90s. You know, we had the modifieds come. We had the Pro Cups come. You know, and all this stuff come. Right now they have, the Super...
They have the Amismas come back. They have the Super Cups, which is what used to be Busch North.
And they run, 6 races?
4. 4 and then 1 ISMA, so 5 total.
So, I mean... I know Jennerstown would love to get back to how they used to be when they're affiliated with NASCAR. I know they're not affiliated with them yet, right?
Right.
No, they lost their NASCAR license 2004, and they've never been able to get it back.
Yeah, when they closed it. So, citing some of this petty stuff that's been going on the last few weeks.
I mean, I don't have an issue with the first post that he posted. The one that said that there was a rule and he was going to have a gauge letter check everybody else's. That one I don't have an issue with because that's what they said to us last week that they were going to do. That they were going to institute that rule and it was going to be for everybody.
That was... I'll admit I put a complaint up on Facebook. That was my complaint. You make a rule, it's for everybody, not one driver.
But the issue I'm getting here is...
Yeah, he went to the extreme about it.
Well, I'm not even getting to Saturday night yet. This is still early in the week. If you guys are upset with the rule, I'm with you guys. You know, the rule should be the same for everybody.
Well, we're not on a rule yet. You're talking about the post that he posted.
That leads to this rule.
Right, but that's what he did. He posted what the rule was. He posted the rule change and just told everybody about it, so I don't see the issue with that.
Yeah, I mean, that was him telling everybody, hey, here's the new rule, we will be checked.
I mean, yeah, he had some words in there that, probably shouldn't have been used. He probably should have just said, hey, here's the rule, I'll have a gauge, everybody will be checked, and that's it.
You don't screenshot the official's text message with you either. That's
right. So, yes,
move.
He did take it a little overboard, but he was just putting it out there, and that's like I said earlier. That's what they told us they were going to do. They were going to put in this rule that we'll talk about in a minute, and it was going to be for everybody.
All right. That's enough on that. We'll move on. With this rule, the camber couldn't be more than 2 degrees.
Casey's right rear camber was not allowed to be more than 2 degrees, while everybody else in the field was allowed to have unlimited.
And like we said, that's not what they told us last week. They told us last week that they were going to go talk to all the drivers or all of the top finishing drivers and come up with a camber degree that everybody can run. So whenever Casey posted that it had to be 2 degrees, what do I automatically think, and what does everybody else automatically think, that's going to be for everybody?
Yeah.
And then they get to the track. I wasn't there this week, so I don't know exactly what happened, but they get to the track and find out that it's just Casey.
Well, we get to the track. Every single official avoids us for the entire night. One comes and talks to us, says, oh yeah, that rule's on you. What about everybody else? Nope. So, I mean, I understand putting in a rule to make competition better. I understand that. But if you're going to put a rule in, everybody follows it, not just one driver.
And I'm the same way. You can add all the rules you want, but a rule is a rule, and it's for everybody. It's not for one person. Just because Casey has a different kind of rear end doesn't mean he should have a special rule. They could go out and get the same kind of rear end that he has, or the same kind of car that has the same rear end. That's not his fault.
Well, you mentioned about the rear end, and I just want to clarify. I want to see if I'm recognize this comment correctly. He said for his chamber he was leaning the bolts.
Yeah,
he was leaning the bolts. Yes.
How safe is that?
That's how you do it.
That's how you have to do it.
But where I'm getting at,
that's how everybody does it.
Yeah.
That's like in the car that I have. There's the specific bolts that you put in that you adjust the camber with.
Yeah.
So that's how everybody's doing it. So it's not a safety issue at all.
No, it's what it all came from was he has adjustable arms in the back because he has independent rear suspension. He does not have an axle.
Yeah, he doesn't have an axle in the rear end like everybody else does.
So he has no way of fixing his toe when he gets knocked out when somebody whaps him. So he put in stock Mopar adjustables, which were completely legal by the rules. And they're sitting there saying that's how he's getting all this camber into his tire. And that's why they wanted to make him adjust it.
But like we explained to them last week, those have nothing to do with camber. That's all toe. And that's all rear steer. So once we got them to understand that, that's when they said, okay, well, we're going to come up with this with a camber rule, and you guys are going to have to stick within that limit. So that's whenever they came out with the 2 degree, and that's what we thought everybody was going to have to run because, everybody can change their camber. Casey just has a little bit different way of doing it.
I say let's go with the GMs, all you got to do is slip in an extra washer behind your nut every time you want to go an extra couple of degrees. I mean, it is what it is with that. With his, he has to actually get in there and physically adjust it with wrenches.
Right.
But that's how Dodges are set up. You should know this, Walt. You used to run a Neon.
Trust me, I love the fact that he runs a Neon. How many other Neons are there in that division?
3.
Okay.
And not a single one of them knows how to race, so it doesn't matter.
So the rules out of the way here. The race went on. How far in the race did he make it?
Not even a lap.
So you said the car's messed up. That when he spun out to hit the wall or get hit by somebody else?
He got rode into the wall by some guy who's only been there for about 3, maybe 4 weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, that was an accordion effect that normally he wouldn't have been in the spot he was in if he trusted his car, but we chased it all night, and I mean, he was town bike loose, if that tells you anything. We might as well have been in an outlaw out at Williams Grove or something. He was that loose.
Now, that brings me to the other point I wanted to make. I posted about, acting professional. I understand racing, and we've already talked. Emotions get high. But the shit that he posted, and some other people posted, and even Andrew a little bit, posted on fucking Facebook after the race Saturday night, was uncalled for.
Yeah, it was.
I agree with that.
I avoided it. But
I mean, Carly, as much as we all grew up fans of Barry. She made a good point. He's been racing there since the mid '80s, if not before that.
I think his first year was something like '78.
He's the only time I can really think of him having real competition. I mean, Gary gives him competition, but probably late '90s, early 2000s when Jeff was racing there. That's probably the only time he's really had real competition.
I forgot about Cragen and all them too.
Yeah, I mean, he's had some competition over the years, but that's the thing you got to handle when you're on the top. Is you got to realize that everybody's aiming for you, and they're gonna try and do whatever they can, or they're gonna try and get under your skin, and you gotta brush it off. And that's the one thing I can say about Casey is that he can't do that. He lets shit get to him.
Yeah, he does.
And he overreacts, and he also lets his girlfriend overreact, and it's just a big spiral. And I agree that that's a real big black mark on his racing career.
I will give him some credit. I don't know if y'all saw it. He did post a retraction today apologizing to everybody. I mean fans, officials, everybody. So I'll give him credit for coming out, giving the retraction, said I'll be there Saturday night just to race.
Now that being said, doing it on there is all fine and dandy. He's bringing the backup car, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna drop drop the motor into the extra body he has sitting there, or what? Because, I mean, that's pretty much our only option right now.
So, I mean, he has to start to win the championship?
Yes.
No, he has to finish 21st.
So basically, he has to start.
Depending on how many show up this week, yeah.
Yeah, there was, 22 last week, so...
Damn.
He needs to make up 9 points to guarantee himself the championship on criteria 1.
So, and this is where I think he didn't do him favors by doing this last weekend. He gets the car there. What's to say? I would hate to see him do it if Andrew would take him out first rot, just so Cindy can win.
Cindy couldn't surpass him in points. It's Paul Koffler the third.
Well, sorry. Okay, and then Paul Koffler ends up winning.
Well,
honestly, I would lose a lot of respect for Andrew, and I don't think Andrew's that kind of racer.
Right.
But I'm sure there are drivers in that division that would do it.
Well, then something from the track needs to be done about that. But
the thing is, that's not going to give him the championship, though.
Well, then that...
Regardless, I mean, and this is where we were talking earlier about Nemechek. Casey, as much as I don't know the guy that well, as obviously as well as you guys do. I'm doing this strictly from a fan perspective at this point. If something happens to him, I hate to say it, it's karma.
I mean, I agree with that. It is. He's set himself up for someone to come possibly take him out, but...
Would I expect the track to do something? I hate this. I hate to diss on the track because I wanted to get better, but it's not Lasky. If it was Lasky still, absolutely something we'd get done with it. We'd get done with it. Would that happen?
Lasky's dead.
The Lasky family, just in general, when they were running the track, it was ran well. I know the guys. I don't know the guys on the track, but I know that they want this track to get better. From everything they've, said publicly. And if they wouldn't do something if that happens, I would be a black mark on them. But
here's the thing, Walt. Casey's had, and you might have seen the shirts that we had made that have the bulls on their back. There's been people that have flat out told him that the next week they're going to take him out, and it hasn't happened. And I'm not saying that it can't happen and it won't happen, but I mean, you take that chance every week. Yeah. Just his driving style alone, even if he didn't go on Facebook and say anything, he is a very aggressive driver. He's kind of, I don't want to compare him to an Earnhardt, but he
puts his nose in places where you don't know how the hell he comes out clean.
He does what he has to do to win, and that's not necessarily. I'm not saying he's wrecking people. I'm not saying he's hitting people on purpose or whatever, but he rubs some people the wrong way just by his driving style, and that causes them to come up to him and say, "Hey, we're going to take you out next week just because you slid into me or whatever." And so, I mean, you take that chance every week.
And I understand the aggressive racing style, and I'm all fine if that was it. As much as I like Andrew, and I'm friends with Andrew. So I'm a little bit biased there. I would probably be rooting for Casey to win, just for the fact that I grew up like an Earnhardt. I like I liked Harvick and Smoke. I like that kind of driver. But some of the stuff he says and does outside of the track kind of puts it off.
And like I said, I agree with that too. I don't agree with the stuff that he puts up on Facebook. Like I said, he lets that stuff get under him. And he puts that stuff out there, and it's a black mark on his racing career.
I do like what Towhead said. Hey, shut up, boys. Get your cars together, and let's take it out on the track Saturday and do it that way. I agreed with Toe right there.
And that's exactly how it should be. Stop talking bullshit on Facebook, and just go race. I mean, it's simple as that. But that's the other thing, though, is this stuff was always going on. You just haven't been able to see it because there wasn't a Facebook or there wasn't Twitter or whatever. So, I mean, this stuff has always gone on. It's just now it's more open to the public.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. See, that's a double-edged sword. It's nice that the drivers, especially local drivers, are trying to get their careers off, that they can interact with the fans. But this stuff should be in the pits. And when they leave pit road, you don't have to like the guy, but it should be done with for the week.
I agree with that too. I mean, it's such a touchy subject because I don't even know.
I mean, I know back in the day, what was it? Cregan, Erickson, Barry, and Smith. There was a fight weekly. You know it, I know it, we all know it. But not everybody around knew it because there wasn't none of this Facebook crap, none of this Twitter. So, like Justin said, this is a double-edged sword with all this social media. As we're filming or shooting a podcast.
Where we actually have, an avenue to talk about this stuff. I think we beat that dead horse into the ground. So, Jason, you want to move on before something happens?
Yeah. Well, we'll touch on the NASCAR race before we go back to Jennerstown and do the points here. Sprint Cup was at Darlington Sunday night. Martin Truex Jr. took the win. Kevin Harvick came in second, followed by Kyle Larson. Justin, you got to watch the race. From what I understand, Harvick was just the car to beat, and once again, his pit crew screwed him over. Does that sound about right?
So, you guys want to train this winter or become crew members? Watching this race, and once again, I mentioned earlier, I'm a Harvick fan. I was rooting for him to win, and he had the dominant car. Between all the pit stops, he lost 15 positions throughout the race. He would come in the lead or come in with second and go out 7th, 8th, 9th on some of his stops. And I did like his comment he made to the media afterwards. It's time for him to stop being a cheerleader for these guys. Because it's not the first time this season it's happened to him.
Are you kidding?
It's happened numerous times.
It's happened to him at least once at every track. He's had a great car, and then his crew would just have pit stops that are worse than ours. And we don't even have pit stops. We have two idiots trying to change a tire.
I would say one idiot and one semi-idiot.
Just go with two idiots. It works better.
Also, I don't know if you guys... the notes here. Junior had a press conference around 4 o'clock on Sunday. He's out for the rest of the year.
Novak and I can attest it's not something to mess with concussions. It's not.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. So, I mean, he's got to do what he's got to do. I mean, if he's still having, issues or whatever, he's got to think about the long term, not about racing. He's made a lot of money. He can live happily. If he's got to retire, do what you got to do.
He's still a part of the sport. He owns a team.
Right.
Yeah, he owns the truck that got wrecked.
And he also owns the 80. Is it the 88 in the Xfinity series?
Yes.
Yeah, that's driven by. Isn't that the one that's driven by Bowman?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's who they've been bringing up to run his car, unless Pretty Boy Gordon's been running it.
Gordon ran it on Sunday, and he looked good.
Well,
for
Darlington
being retired.
Darlington was always his track, though. Some reason he always performed at Darlington.
Though I will mention it was nice to see Johnson spin out.
So I hate to say it this way, why couldn't he take Gordon with him? But yeah.
Also, speaking of Johnson, he got a penalty in the early part of the race for attempting to modify the aerodynamics of the car. One of the crew members was pushing down on the car trying to get more aerodynamic.
I'm almost 300 pounds. I can push down that car. It ain't going to change a damn thing.
Wow. Speaking of Junior, do you guys think he'll be ready for the Daytona 500 like he says he plans to be?
It's tough to say. I mean, you could go a long period of time with not having any effects, and then all of a sudden it can be like a light switch, and bam, you got a headache, and you just can't get rid of it. Or so, I mean, you're just gonna have to wait and see how he feels then.
I wouldn't blame him one bit if he does just hang it up, say, hey, I'm done. I'm not gonna, I want to live my life. I want to be the businessman that I've become. I mean, he's not going to actually be leaving the sport. He could bring in some young talent who's going to be amazing.
But let's say, I think in his mind at least, I think his career would be a failure if he doesn't win at least one championship. And being with, as much as I don't like Hendricks, being with Hendricks Motorsports, he has that chance.
Well, he didn't stay with DEI for other reasons, so...
Well, I know that, the equipment wasn't up to par, but I know there are other reasons, and with the monster-in-law, but we won't get into that right now.
All right, let's talk about local racing points here and get this out of the way. The big boys in the late models, you got Barry Audi with 725. In second place, Matt Sever at 705. Third place, Gary Wiltrout with 694 with 1 week remaining. I'd have to say Barry has that pretty much locked up. We'd have to have about 20 late models in the field for Matt to cover that spread?
Yeah, I believe.
Alright, and then the modifieds. Zane Farrell still leads with 697, followed by Chris Brink and Tom Golick. Zane, I think, has that one wrapped up, but we all know Chris is going to win. I mean, the man's unstoppable.
Actually, now you mentioned that Brink, that brings up a good point. How many times has he been checked this year for stuff that's illegal with this car?
Are you kidding me? They don't let him out of there for an hour and a half every time he wins. They've actually torn his engine apart because we look over and, oh, look, there's a huge puddle of oil just laying in the tech garage. Couldn't find a darn thing. He's just like Casey. He knows how to set a car up to run. I mean, you know as well as the rest of us. Winning in racing means you win in the turns. But anyhow.
The only reason I mentioned that is because I do believe you guys a couple weeks ago about it's amazing they haven't found anything wrong with his car yet.
They did the first week, but that was because it was a new rule that nobody actually read that far down. Something about his push rods had to be, what was it, Novak, like 3 millimeters shorter or something like that?
Yeah, it was something weird like that.
I mean, it was a minute thing that was difference between their old rules from last year and this year. He went, fixed it, and he still outruns everybody like crazy. The man can just drive. And he is a gentleman among gentlemen. He won a double feature the one night. Gave his entire winnings to a young man who ended up in the hospital. So, I mean, he's a gentleman.
All right, you can continue now.
Street stocks, Andrew Kostelnik has a 684. Sean Beam in second with 680. Then Aaron Van Felt is in third with 541. This is going to be the highly contested one Saturday. Andrew, the last couple weeks, has just come on strong, and it seems like Sean has faded off. I could see Sean pulling it off because 4 points can be made up in a night. But Andrew's going to have to do a butthead move, which he's known for, and screw up somehow. In the Fast Fours, Casey Flegel, 654. Paul Koffler, the third, at 608. And then...
Nice number.
Huh?
Nice number.
Yes, it is. Then Cindy Rhodes in third at 595. Casey should have this. I mean, unless 22 cars show up again and he gets wrecked on the first lap, all he has to do is cover a spread of 9 points. The most you can get in one night is 55. Charger division. Steven had this wrapped up a couple weeks ago with 712 right now. Scott Mitchell at 649 and Tanner Friedline at 630. Yeah. Steven's been the talk of the crown of the class there. I mean, all year long, so.
Do you think Tanner can move up to second?
He has a chance. Scott's going to have to mess up pretty bad. That we don't get a big car count in the Chargers because, well, if you're going to do that, that's basically the same level as the 4-cylinders, just cost you a lot more. So you might as well come in at a 4-cylinder or a street stock if you're going to do that. Novak, any notes you want to add for that, or are we going to wait until after Saturday's over to have our fun?
Next week's going to be I'm interested to see what happened with those street stocks. We all know that's kind of a rough and tumble class already. So with there being a 4-point difference, that one should definitely be interesting. I think all the other classes are pretty much locked up, though. The only other one that there'd be a slight issue would be with the Fast Fours with Casey and Paul Koffler, especially with Casey having the car issues. We don't know what car he's going to run this week. But he only needs to make up 9 points, so he should be able to do that, but you never know what's going to happen. So,
one thing that was a saving grace for Casey is Paul got, what did he get, third last week? He didn't get wins, so it helped. And speaking of rough and tumble, them street stocks need to tone it down a little bit. They're beating the crap out of each other. I mean,
now, if them beating each other up, are they wrecking, or are they just hitting each other?
Oh, they're wrecking.
Okay, so that's going too far.
Yeah. Trying to think. There was 3 wrecks this week. One of them, of course, was Angie wrecking herself, but that doesn't count. Jason Holder got put in the wall pretty hard by Wilt.
That's a shame.
So,
I mean, seeing the stock, where the stocks are, kind of makes me wish I could make it up there for the week just to see how that ends up. I mean, like you guys said, the other series are pretty much wrapped up. Barry pretty much has it wrapped up. I mean, 10 cars on average for late models?
10 to 12. I mean, he'd have to basically finish last in his heat and wreck and not even start the feature for Matt to have a chance.
I mean, the modifieds, it's not as close as it could be. I mean, 4 points going into the last week, that's
the way racing
that's
should
entertaining.
be. That's the way racing should be. But
I mean, yeah, we mentioned, Fast Fours. It's a possibility that Casey doesn't win, but it's slim.
there's a lot of factors in that one. A lot. Speaking of which, Adam, I don't know if I told you, but that $7,000 Fast and Furious 4 car never left its trailer.
Yeah, you did mention that. That's a lot of money for a paperweight.
Yep.
What is it, made out of gold?
One gentleman up here is wanting to get into racing. He went to look at our buddy Adam's car. Didn't want to pay the price. We're like, okay, that's fine. Goes online, buys a car sight unseen for somewhere around $3,000. Has it brought to him, pays for that. Finds out the car's rusted out underneath. Sells it to a local kid for $300. Goes up to the guy who was in second place for a while in the Fast and Furious 4's points. Puts a wad of cash of $4,000 in front of him. Says, I want to buy your car. Did that 3 weeks ago. This was the first week the car made it to the track, but it never got off the trailer. Why would you spend that much money on a car and not do it?
Sounds like a case of having too much money and not enough brain cells.
The guy's 70 years old.
Why is he racing?
He wants to. Nothing wrong with that.
I understand he wants to, but
I'm not even half his age, and if I had that kind of money, I'd be on the track right now.
there's a difference, Jason. You get into an accident, hit that wall, chances of you breaking every bone in your body is slim to none. That 70-year-old, life flight's going to come in and carry his ass to Connemall so he can go to the morgue.
It's already there. Shorter trip.
Alright, let's move on from racing.
Yeah, let's get off of racing before we get back into the argument about rules. So are we going to do any fantasy football talk, or are we going to start talking some other worthwhile sport here called hockey?
I think we'll do fantasy football. Does match up a good. Before we get to that, once again, I'll mention that we are doing the NFL Pick'em. I did repost it on Facebook for you guys. Get on there, join. It's free. No prizes this year, but be a chance for you guys to prove that you're smarter than the podcasters.
That don't take much.
I'm definitely winning that shit.
That remains to be seen.
Dude, I've yet to fill it out, so...
You haven't even signed up.
That said I did somehow.
No, it's not showing up. I know, Adam, you did... Well, before we get to the fantasy football, I did a pro pick'em, the place I worked at last year. I think out of 1,000 or 1,200 people, I finished like 20th. It didn't win, which sucks because I was losing a shitload of money and a nice big screen TV. But I don't know about you, Jason. I'm not doing any fantasy football this year. I know, Adam, you had your draft this weekend. You want to talk about it?
Sure. I actually have two teams. One is a little less serious than the other. That one, my team consists of Aaron Rodgers, Brandon Cooks, Larry Fitzgerald, Kelvin Benjamin, Todd Gurley is my running back, along with Carlos Hyde. Tight ends, Greg Olson. My bench consists of LeGarrette Blount, Sterling Shepard, Andy Dalton's my backup QB, Martellus Bennett, backup tight end, and Eli Rogers from Pittsburgh is my last wide receiver. Kicker, Steven Gostowski from New England, and I have New England's defense. That's from the league that's a little less serious. Still a little bit of money on the line, but last year in that league I finished third. I was first all year long until I got to the playoffs, and then my team shit the bed. My serious league, we drafted on Saturday. I had the first pick. I ended up taking Antonio Brown from Pittsburgh, and my team consists of Carson Palmer, Lamar Miller, Antonio Brown, Allen Robinson, Kobe Fleener, Doug Baldwin. I have Seattle's defense, and I have Chris Boswell as my kicker. And I have a couple other backups as well. But so I think I got two pretty good teams there, so we'll see what happens.
Jason, you doing any fantasy football this year?
I didn't do any yet. I always wait till the last minute and try to get into one of them small money leagues and get my butt kicked. But yeah, I have fun with it, so I don't care.
All right, now into our second hot topic discussion we're going to have tonight. Earlier in the week, Team North America announced that as of right now, Matt Murray is slated to be the starter over John Gibson.
Whoa, how do you feel about Matt Murray being a starter?
Over Gibson for a tournament?
Come on, Pittsburgh's own against Pittsburgh's actual player. Which one? Come on.
Pittsburgh's own. The kid has international experience. Now, granted, this tournament is fastly turned into a joke. I understand what the NHL is doing with this, but it's slowly gonna bite them in the ass. Like I said, my feelings are Gibson should be the starter, Murray second. But
I mean, I'll just make my feelings real quick. I think Matt Murray should be starting because he's going to be starting for the Penguins.
I say Matt Murray won a Stanley Cup. John Gibson fell out earlier in the playoffs. So,
who's won an international tournament?
Gibson did, but look what he had in front of him.
Look what Murray had in front of him.
So what does it matter if he has international experience or not? It's at the same token, what does it matter if Murray's won a Stanley Cup?
Right now, it's all about what have you done lately, so, I mean, that's the last thing any of them could have done. Yes, folks, stay tuned. Hockey will be a fun season with us.
Oh, yeah. Though, before we get into the injuries, with Team North America especially, I'm amazed these kids are, I mean, some of the more established ones like Gibson and Murray, and some of the guys that played for the team a couple years, I see them playing, but Austin Matthews, first overall draft pick, this tournament goes until October 1st. That gives the kid, 11 days to learn Toronto's system?
Yeah, I don't really think that's a good idea. I mean,
these guys are missing training camp.
That's dumb. I don't think. I mean, I understand playing for your team or for your country or whatever, but you know,
dude, we're not talking, the Olympic gold medal here.
Right.
Oh, that's exactly it. It's a tournament that, for my opinion, NHL is doing to try to get in ESPN's good graces again. Because ESPN has the rights to this tournament. And if that guy from those commercials is broadcasting, I'm tuning out.
Or just hitting the mute button, one of the two.
I'll play, if I need to, I'll play the World Cup of Hockey on NHL 17.
Which I can't wait for that to come out.
A little over a week. Along with NASCAR The Heat. But mention list of more players that aren't.
Hold on, Justin, before you get into this, Adam, what are we going? 5-1 that Justin mispronounces half these names?
You want to do it?
I will not take that bet.
Do you want to read the injuries, Jason?
I can. I'll probably screw them up too, but all right. The Czech Republic has Tomas Hertl, Radko Gudas. Are they replacing them with David Krejci? Or is he? Oh, no.
No.
Krejci is out.
Yes. They haven't named replacements for Hertl and Gudas.
Those are two pretty big losses right there. For Team Canada, Jeff Carter is out. Or no. Yeah, Jeff Carter's out, and he's going to be replaced by Corey Perry.
Jeff Carter's still playing hockey.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, Corey Perry should have been on that team to begin with, so that's let's just move on past that crap. For Team North America, Sean Monahan is out, and he's being replaced by a Pittsburgh-owned Vincent Trocheck. Henrik Zetterberg is out for Team Sweden to be replaced by Michael Backlund.
I'll take the next one, Jason.
Yeah, that's a goalie. We'll let you mess it up.
Frederick Anderson, the new acquired player from the Maple Leafs, playing an Olympic pre-qualifier, hurt his upper body. They announced today he will miss the World Cup of Hockey. They're going to name his replacement Tuesday. The other goalies for Team Europe are Yaroslav Halak and Thomas Grice. Wow.
Dude, he played here and he messed that up. That's sad.
Former Penguin, currently, last I heard, was playing with the Islanders.
Yes.
Yeah, he was, as of right now, he's a starter.
Actually, they're both playing with the Islanders. Halak and Grice.
Yeah.
This is, like I stated before we got into this. Actually brings up the next point. Is it worth it for these guys to keep playing in this tournament and risk injury that it's going to miss time in the NHL season?
No.
Nope.
The tournament starts, the pre-tournament starts on Sunday or Monday. I'd have to look to see the exact date. The actual tournament starts on the 16th and goes to October 1st.
The 16th would be a Friday. September 16th?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Friday. It's 2 Fridays from now.
I mean, the tournament goes October 1st. Most likely it's going to be Team Canada and Team USA in the final.
Never discount Sweden or Finland, dude. Or Russia, for God's sake.
Look at the injuries. That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah, they're the only ones
Russia,
that aren't really hurt.
I mean, Sweden does have a great goaltender that loves to choke in the playoffs, so we'll see.
That's true, and a tournament's like a playoff.
But like I mentioned earlier, the regular season starts on October 12th. I was excited for this tournament last year. The closer we get to it, the less excited I am about it. I would just rather them do the regular season, go through training camp, go through preseason, play, and then 2 years from now, take the break in February to go play the Olympics.
Now, from what I'm understanding, this is supposed to be an Olympic qualifier as well?
No, they are playing Olympic qualifiers right now.
Oh, okay. I got them backwards.
Germany qualified today, I believe, by a goal, and I'll let you say the name, Jason, so I don't screw it up.
Oh,
Score.
Thomas Kuhnhackel.
Yeah.
Taken after his daddy.
To get them into the Olympics.
Do you know who they played?
Oh, that I can't tell you. I just saw something pop up on, I think, one of my notifications, and I didn't look to see who they played. I just saw it was a Pittsburgh Penguin that got the goal. And
I'll tell you what, it's going to be nice to have him up there in that fourth line for Pittsburgh. He did a really nice job. Actually, we're to the point. Let's check with Adam if we had any emails. Adam, did we have any emails?
No, we never get any emails.
Did we have any tweets?
No.
Anybody message us on Facebook?
No.
Wow, that's depressing.
You want to try to pimp our stuff out again?
Yeah. Adam's got a better voice than us. Let him be the sexy one today.
I'm the sexy one every day.
I'll give you that.
You're a midget.
Hey, it's nice you can just pick them up and do what you want with them.
All right, Captain Candy Beard. All right, if you guys are listening to us on iTunes, definitely leave a review and like and comment and all that stuff. Same with YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Like it, comment it. We check all that stuff on the regular, so if you leave us something, we'll definitely get back to you, or we'll talk about it in the podcast. You can check us out on Facebook. Search for Mason Dixon Sports Podcast. Twitter, you can find us at MaceDixSportsPod, or you can email us at MasonDixonSportsPodcast@gmail.com. You can also find myself on Twitter at Slovak044. If you would like to play some games on Xbox, my username is EagleHawk44. And if you would like to Snapchat me, which I am literally Snapchatting as we speak, my username for there is Slovak044.
You guys want to play any Xbox with me? It's Edzo608. If you want to send me any tweets or anything, any questions you got, it's .edzo608. And if you want to snap me, it's JEdzo608. Sounds a little repetitive, but hey, it's easier for me to remember. Justin, you got anything?
On the Xbox side, if you guys play NHL 17, and you guys want to be part of the EA Sports Hockey League with us, send us a friend request or message us on Xbox. You can message me at Boost4608. And when that game comes out next Tuesday, you will better believe we'll be setting that up on Tuesday. And hopefully starting to unlock stuff Tuesday night. You can follow me at Twitter at Boost4608. And on Instagram at Boost4608. I believe we've gone on long enough this week. Hopefully it was entertaining for you guys.
Hey, make sure to join that football pool with us so we can all make Boost and or Justin and Adam look bad.
Please.
Keep dreaming.
All right, guys. One of us is going to have to make a bet here. Somebody's going to be shaving their head this time.
I mean, I think you should have to shave your head.
I always shave my head, so for me, it'd be to have to grow my hair. Which that would drive me insane, so no, I'm not losing.
Actually, speaking of bets, I'm surprised we didn't do one, Adam, since, our two college teams are going against each other this week.
Oh, you want to bet?
I'm the mediator. Let's do this. Let's see this.
What do you want to bet?
I don't know. Any ideas, Jason?
Well, shaving the head is not really fun for either of you, so, oh, we gotta embarrass you somehow. Do the dollar. Do the dollar. Do the one large.
Yeah, I got an idea. Since we're both set on who our favorite goalie right now is and who should start. If I lose, or Penn State loses, which is mostly what's going to happen, I have to admit that Murray's a better goalie. If Penn State pulls off the upset, you gotta state that Fleury's the better goalie.
All right, that's a deal.
Ouch. So basically, you're gonna sit here and lie to our fans next week.
Yeah, most likely. But I think that's enough for us for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed. And if you did, please subscribe to us, whatever you're listening to or watching us on. And let us know how we're doing. We're hoping the audio quality is better. We have since all bought mics since we started. And until next week, see you out there.